your source for news from Cinegear Indie Shooter.
Hi, I'm Matt Frazer. I'm in business development for Panasonic Lumix. Today we're talking about the S5IIX, hotly anticipated follow-up to our S5II. The S5II made quite a stir because it was the first camera we introduced with our phase hybrid autofocus system to really catch up to some of our competitors and make sure that we had stunningly accurate autofocus. This is the more cinema-focused version of that camera. The differences between the two come down to things like the ability to have all intra video codecs, make it a little bit easier workload for your computer for edits. We also are giving you access to ProRes, so you have the ability to record ProRes, either 1080 ProRes internal, or you can use the USB port and use an external SSD, and that will give you up to 5.7K ProRes files as well. The camera also has other USB port features that we have added. With the USB port, you can convert it to an Ethernet connection, and that Ethernet connection allows you to put it onto a network, and using the Lumix Tether app, you can control up to 12 of these Lumix cameras on network. And on the S5IIX, you have the ability to do full camera control, including the entire menu system within that operating system. So it makes for a tremendous tool for multicam setups or people who are doing studio setups. The camera also has the ability to stream over network. If you use the Ethernet connection, you can stream either RTMP or RTSP signals up to 4K at 60 frames per second. If you want to use Wi-Fi, we can also do that over Wi-Fi, and that has the ability to do it up to 1080p with this camera. A couple of other benefits. The camera's HDMI port has the ability to output RAW video, and we're fairly agnostic when it comes to RAW. We support both ProRes RAW with the Atomos devices, and we support Blackmagic RAW or B-RAW with their video assist recorders, which is what we're demonstrating here today. Those are the primary differences between those two cameras. I'd also like to remind people that in general, the S5II and the S5IIX can do 6K video in open gate. That means that the full 3:2 aspect ratio sensor can be used for video, which for anamorphic lenses, that's great. That's why we offer anamorphic D-squeeze functions and stabilization in the camera to stabilize anamorphic lenses. But for social media content, we're finding a lot of people wanting to use that open gate because it gives us more vertical video that we've captured, which means I only have to shoot one time and I can deliver both a horizontal shot for YouTube and I can deliver a vertical shot for Instagram or TikTok. So,
and that's already in there. That's not future. That's in there
yeah,
right now.
That is in the camera right now, ready to go. It was already in the S5II when we shipped it. So probably the last question you have out there is price. S5II is going to sell for $2,000. The S5IIX, it is an enormous price upgrade. It is a $200 upcharge. So we're going to charge you $21.99 to get all of those features, and then we're going to throw in for free an all black cosmetic. We've blacked it out. So this is the camera the Dark Knight would probably use if he was going to be shooting a blog, for instance.
Question on the Ethernet, does that include power? Does power go through the Ethernet connection through the USB?
Unfortunately, there's no PoE for this, so that is kind of a negative of using the USB port for things like an SSD drive or as an Ethernet, because you won't be able to power the camera over USB. You'll have to use the internal battery. However, there are battery eliminators that can just go right into the bottom of the camera, and then you can tap those into power solutions. We have two different series, right? We have in full frame, we use the L mount, and then in the micro four thirds, it's a micro four thirds mount. The L mount is a great mount because it is an alliance of 3 companies today, and it's actually going to have more in the future. We have Leica, who developed the mount, and so all their lenses. We have Sigma, so the Sigma FP, the FPL, and all of their lenses. And then you have the S-series cameras from Lumix. So all of our lenses work together as if they were made by each company. So effectively, all of those lens systems are first party. Even little details like, with our lens system, because these are mirrorless cameras and because they're a newer sort of generation of camera, the focused wheels on these are usually what's called focus by wire. Photographers love it because if I turn it really fast, I can get from close to infinity in like less than 90-degree turn. But then if I want to do something slow, I can do like a 360-degree turn. Problem is for like video, it's so inconsistent, it makes focus pulls terrible. So we have the ability in our cameras to set that to linear instead of non-linear, and we can even program the degrees of rotation. So if I want that throw to be short because I'm doing a slow-mo and I don't have a focus puller, I maybe only want 90 degrees for a slow-mo pull, but I also may want like 360 degrees of throw because I'm doing like a real close-up shot and I need a lot of granularity. You can program these rings, and that's included in the Leica lenses or the Sigma lenses. They all have this ability. They won't necessarily have all the same degrees of rotation, but all of them can at least do linear, and all of them give you at least some adjustment potential for how many degrees you can work with the lens. And that also means the autofocus systems are all tuned together as well. Honestly, I think we tried to build an excellent complementary camera tool with this. So clearly, people who are doing like vlogging or YouTube content creation, it's a terrific camera, especially for like marketing. People who are in marketing or on like social media teams because of the photography features, because it's a 24 megapixel photo camera. So I think that's a big market for this, is people who are doing content creation. But you also have markets where people want secondary or supplemental cameras to like a larger primary camera. So the networking functionality here makes it a terrific live production camera, especially since you can control it with so many of them from a single interface. And then I look at this as a great complementary camera to a cinema camera as well. It's a full frame sensor. It can do open gate. It has anamorphic D-squeeze functions. But we also have a feature called real-time LUT that we introduced in the S5 II. This allows you to take and load LUTs, and then you can bake them into the final video image. Normally that's taboo in the cinema community because we want a log file for post. But I want you to imagine that I'm going to use this camera as a C camera to an Arri Alexa LF, for example. Imagine that you create a transform LUT in DaVinci Resolve or in Baselight. There's a tool in DaVinci Resolve that allows you to tell Resolve this started as Vlog. I want the clip to end as log C so that I can use all the log C LUTs, right? Well, or log C workflow. Well, what I can do is once I do that conversion in Resolve, I can then kick out a .33 cube LUT. I can load that LUT in the camera, and then I can set that as the baked-in LUT, which means this now is recording in Arri color space. This means that post, when you deliver the Arri footage and you deliver the Panasonic footage, you just tell them to work in log C3, and they don't have to learn a workflow for Panasonic Vlog if they don't want to. So it really streamlines workflows. So this actually just started shipping June the 1st. So basically the first setup day it's the first day of Cinegear is when we started shipping them. So you go to either shop.panasonic.com, that's shop.panasonic.com, or we have a microsite for the S5 II and the S5 IIX. That microsite is Lumix S5IIX.com. Again, that's Lumix S5IIX.com.
Your source for news from Cinegear Indie.